The Galactic Council Hall was silent, but not calm. Thousands of alien leaders sat in floating seats made of light and metal. Some had wings, some had scales, some had eyes that never blinked. This hall had judged wars, destroyed worlds, and decided the fate of entire species. But today, something felt different. At the center of the hall stood one human. She was small compared to the others. No claws, no armor plates, no glowing eyes. Just a human woman in a simple dark uniform. Her name was Captain Mara Hale, the official human representative. Many aliens believed humans were weak. Short lives, soft bodies, too emotional. Yet, humans were still here. A young alien scientist stepped forward. His name was Zirin. His species was known for logic and cold thinking. He adjusted the glowing device on his wrist and looked directly at the human woman. He did not speak with anger. He spoke with curiosity. "Human," Zirin said, his voice echoing across the hall. "We have studied your species for many cycles." The hall lights dimmed slightly. Zirin continued. "In your wars, your science, your survival stories, we keep seeing the same pattern." Mara Hale did not move. She listened. Zirin tilted his head. "Why must the female always be first in everything?" A low sound moved through the council. Confusion, interest, doubt. Some alien leaders laughed softly. Others leaned forward. Mara finally smiled. It was calm. Not proud. Not angry. "The female?" one council elder asked. "Explain." Zirin activated a hologram. Images appeared in the air. Human history. A woman standing in burning ruins, leading survivors. A woman launching the first deep space ship. A woman holding a child while shields failed around her. A woman walking first onto a deadly alien world. "In moments of danger," Zirin said slowly, "your females step forward. Before your males. Before safety. Before logic." He looked directly at Mara. "Why?" The hall waited. Mara took one slow breath. "Because when everything falls," she said softly, "she still stands." Some aliens frowned. Others showed signs of surprise. "That is not an answer," said a tall armored leader from the North Systems. "That is poetry." Mara lifted her eyes. "No, that is experience." She raised her hand. The human archive symbol appeared. "Do you want the truth?" she asked. "Or do you want comfort?" The council hesitated. Then the highest judge spoke. "Show us." The lights in the hall went dark. A deep sound filled the room as ancient human memory records opened. Not stories. Not myths. Real moments. The first image appeared. Earth. A dying planet. Storms tearing cities apart. Oceans rising. Fire in the sky. Aliens watched closely. A human male leader was speaking, shouting orders, arguing with others. Nothing moved forward. Time was lost. Then the image shifted. A human woman stepped into the frame. Her face was tired. Her hands were shaking. But her eyes were clear. She did not shout. She gave simple orders. People moved. Children were saved first. Injured next. Resources shared, not fought over. She broke command rules. An alien whispered. "Yes," Mara said calmly. She broke fear. The image changed again, a battlefield. Human soldiers retreating. A female soldier stood at the front, wounded, covering others. She should run. Zirin said quietly. She could, Mara replied. But then others would die. The hall was silent now. Mara looked at Zirin. "You ask why she goes first," she said. "Because she knows what it means to lose." Zirin felt something strange. Not logic. Not data, respect. "But words are not proof," he said slowly. "Show us more." Mara nodded. "This is only the beginning." She said. The human archive began loading deeper. memories, and the galaxy realized something unsettling. They had not survived humans because humans were weak. They survived because someone always walked first into the darkness. And very often, she was female. The images from the human archives continued to float in the Galactic Council Hall, shimmering like stars. Aliens leaned closer, their many eyes wide with curiosity and confusion. They expected chaos, fear, and failure. Instead, they saw courage. The next memory opened. Earth during its final great storm. Cities were crumbling. Oceans swallowed coastlines. The sky burned orange and black. Humanity was on the edge of extinction. Male leaders panicked. They shouted orders at one another, pointing fingers. Some fled in fear. Others argued endlessly about strategy. Nothing got done. Time was slipping away. And then she appeared. Dr. Alira Stone, a human scientist, barely in her 30s, stood at the center of the chaos. She did not wear a uniform. Her lab coat was torn. Her hair stuck to her sweaty face. But her eyes were sharp, clear, focused. She did not scream. She did not complain. She simply looked at the people around her and began to act. Evacuate the children first. She shouted. Medical supplies to the shelters. Everyone, follow me. Aliens watched as humans obeyed. Slowly, surely, order began to emerge from chaos. Mara Hale's narration in the archive continued. She did not think about herself. She thought about all of us. Every person mattered. Every life counted. Storms tore buildings apart. Fires spread across streets. Rivers overflowed. And still, Dr. Stone moved calmly among the people. She carried children on her shoulders, lifted the elderly from debris, and directed groups to safety. Every decision she made was dangerous. Every step she took could have been her last. One alien observer whispered, "Why does she not run?" Another replied, "Is it not instinct to survive?" Yet she did not. The archive showed a close-up, Alira's hands bleeding, her face streaked with dirt and tears. She paused for only a moment, looking at a trapped child in a crumbling building. Without hesitation, she crawled into the wreckage. Moments later, she emerged, child in arms, safe, alive. Zyron, the young alien scientist, was leaning forward. His many eyes narrowed. But why always the female? He muttered to himself. Surely males could do the same. The archive answered silently. In the background, male leaders tried to organize, but they were too afraid. Too hesitant. Too proud. Alira did not have time for hesitation. She understood something aliens rarely grasped. To lead is to act first. Even when it is dangerous, even when no one follows at first. Aliens could not deny it. Every human memory showed it again and again. Women stepped into storms, into battles, into chaos. And they survived, often with others. The archive shifted again. It showed the final moments on Earth. Massive storms had passed, leaving cities in ruins. Entire species had been lost. Yet humanity remained, scattered, wounded, but alive. And at the center of this survival, there was always a female figure guiding them. Zyron turned to Mara Hale, his voice quieter than before. How can one person carry so much? Mara's eyes did not waver. She does not carry it alone. She carries it because she must. Because if she does not, no one else will. The council hall was silent. Aliens had seen battles. They had seen wars. They had seen fear. But this was different. There was no sword. No weapon. No alien technology could match the simple strength of a human woman determined to protect life. And still, Zyron asked, almost in awe, did she ever fear? The archive showed her standing atop a hill, overlooking the flooded city. The wind whipped around her. Fires burned in the distance. Her clothes were soaked. She looked exhausted, broken. And yet, her eyes shone. Yes, Mara said. She feared everything. But she acted anyway. That is why she went first. The council leaned forward. The lesson was sinking in. Humans were not weak. Not even close. And slowly, very slowly, the aliens began to understand the question that had haunted them for cycles. Why must the female always be first? Because when the storm came, the world would fall, and she would stand. She would act. She would lead. She would survive. And by surviving, she saved everyone else. The archive faded for a moment, and Mara Hale's calm voice echoed across the hall. This is only one example. There are many more. But it is enough to make one thing clear. Aliens whispered among themselves. Some could not believe what they were seeing. Some could not believe what they had always assumed. Mara's words hung in the air, almost like a warning. Humans do not wait for permission. And when everything collapses, she walks first into the storm. The council lights dimmed, and the next memory began to load. And somewhere, deep inside Zirin, curiosity began to feel. Like respect. The memory shifted. This time, the human archive showed a faraway planet, dark and cold, orbiting a dying star. Aliens called it Zitharan, a research and prison world. Its surface was jagged, filled with jagged black rocks and glowing red rivers of molten metal. Humans had landed here once peacefully, for trade, but it ended in disaster. Some humans were captured, taken as specimens for study. Among them was Lena Cross, a human soldier, strong and young, but far from invincible. The alien captors surrounded her. They were tall, covered in armor, their voices harsh and metallic. They wanted obedience, fear, and submission. They wanted to see weakness. Lena stood in the middle of the cold cell. Chains bound her wrists. The aliens circled, probing her mind with strange devices that could show memories, thoughts, even fears. "You will obey," said one alien commander, its voice like grinding metal. "Or we will remove your will." Lena's jaw tightened. She did not flinch. One of the younger aliens whispered to Zirin, "Why does she not beg? Why does she not scream?" Zirin, watching through the human archive, frowned. He had never seen a human behave like this under true pain. He leaned forward, his curiosity growing into something deeper, something he could not name. The alien commander increased the pressure. Lena's mind felt invaded. Memories of home, friends, and family flickered before her eyes. Pain burned in her mind. She had a choice, yield or resist, and yet she did not yield. Instead, Lena focused on the prisoners around her. A younger human, terrified, whimpered in a corner. Lena crawled over, her hands bleeding from the chains. She whispered, "We survive together. Do not give them fear. We will not give them victory." Her voice, though soft, carried across the cell. The aliens recoiled. They had expected screams, begging, submission, but not courage. Not leadership from one so restrained. Hours passed. Chains bit into her wrists. Hunger clawed at her stomach. Exhaustion weighed her down like stones. Still, she moved, protected, and cared. One alien turned to the commander. "She should have broken by now. All others do. Why does she endure?" The commander did not answer. It watched, confused, frustrated, and for the first time uncertain. In the darkness of the cell, Lena whispered to the other prisoners, "Remember, they cannot take what we do not fear to lose. Stand with me. Stand together. Do not let them see you weak." Her words, so simple, carried more weight than any weapon. It was a lesson in survival, in strength, in quiet power. Zirin leaned closer, fascinated. He had studied countless species, and yet this human woman was unlike any logic or data could predict. She did not resist because of anger or fear. She resisted because of purpose. Because she protected life. Because she understood responsibility. Hours later, the aliens decided to escalate. Pain devices activated across the chamber. Flames of energy licked at Lena's skin. She cried out once, but not in submission. In defiance, a younger alien whispered again. "Why does she smile?" Lena's lips curved faintly. Her eyes glowed with determination. "Because you have already lost," she said, her voice weak but firm. The commander recoiled. She had survived everything they could throw at her. Her strength was not physical, it was the fire of Will.Zyrren. Observing silently, finally understood a truth that the archives had hinted at, but never fully revealed. Humans were not just strong because of their bodies or weapons. They were strong because some of them, always, often the female, stood first when fear and danger appeared. They endured, not for glory, not for orders, but for others. The archive faded, leaving the council hall in near silence. Every alien present felt something unfamiliar, respect mixed with fear, admiration mixed with doubt. Mara Hale's voice echoed across the hall. "Do you understand now, Zyrren? She walks first because she knows what it means to carry everyone else. She resists not for herself, but for all who cannot." Zyrren nodded slowly. He had questions, still many. But he could not deny the power he had just witnessed, and somewhere deep inside him, curiosity began to shift into understanding, and something almost like awe. The memory ended, but the lesson remained clear. Humans, when led by women, carried the impossible. And no force, alien or natural, could easily break that resolve. The council lights dimmed. Mara Hale's voice filled the room once more. "This is only one of many stories. The galaxy has yet to see the true strength of those who go first." The archive shifted again. The council hall darkened, and the next memory unfolded on the shimmering screens. A distant planet. Unknown to most alien species. It was Viara Prime. A newly discovered world with hostile terrain, volcanic fissures, sudden storms, and strange predators that lurked beneath the crimson sands. Humanity had been tasked with exploration, diplomacy, and survival. And at the center of it all stood a human woman, Ava Morales, a young engineer known for her courage and sharp mind. The alien council leaned closer. Their curiosity, now mixed with apprehension, filled the room. The memory began. A shuttle hovered above the rough surface. The landing zone trembled as volcanic tremors shook the ground. Rocks fell from nearby cliffs. A sudden electric storm painted the sky with violet lightning. The humans inside the shuttle hesitated. They had been trained for years, yet fear gripped them. Every soldier and engineer knew the risks. A wrong step, a miscalculation, and they could die instantly. Ava Morales stood at the front. Her helmet visor reflected the storm outside. She did not hesitate. She did not scan the risks endlessly. She stepped forward. "Follow me," she said calmly, though her heart raced. The others looked at her, nervous. She was the first to leave the shuttle. The ground beneath her feet cracked slightly. A gust of wind tried to throw her off balance. A predator hissed from a distance. Still, she walked forward. Behind her, soldiers and engineers followed. They moved carefully but were guided by her confidence. Every step she took, she calculated risk, but she did not let fear rule her. She went first so the others could survive. The council watched in silence. Some aliens whispered among themselves, "Why always the female?" One asked, "She leads because the others cannot." Another replied. The memory shifted. Ava reached a dangerous ridge. The storm intensified. Lightning struck dangerously close. She stopped for a moment, scanning the path ahead. She looked back at her team. "Stay close," she said. "Trust me. We survived together." Suddenly, the ground gave way slightly beneath her. Dust and debris fell. Her foot nearly slipped into a jagged crack. The aliens gasped. Some even covered their eyes, expecting her to fall. But Ava's hand reached for a rock. She stabilized herself. She smiled briefly at the team behind her. "Keep moving," she said. The archive zoomed in on her face. Determination burned in her eyes. She could have waited. She could have let someone else go first. But she knew that if she did, someone would be lost. This was not bravery for glory. This was sacrifice for life. Zyron, watching intently, whispered to himself, "She is not afraid. And yet she feels everything." Yes, Mara Hale's voice echoed through the hall. She feels fear, but she does not let it control her. She walks first, because others cannot or will not. The memory continued. Ava led her team through unstable cliffs, dangerous creatures, and electrical storms. Each step forward was a test. Every challenge could have ended in death. And yet, she survived. Her team survived. And slowly, the alien observers began to understand that this pattern was not an accident. The female human goes first. She steps into danger. She protects the others. She survives not alone, but for everyone. The archive faded. The council hall lights brightened again, but a quiet tension remained. Aliens whispered, some shaking their heads, some staring in disbelief. Mara Hale's calm voice filled the hall. "This is the way of humanity. When everything is unknown, dangerous, or impossible, she walks first. Not for power, not for pride, but because life depends on it." Zyron, deep in thought, looked at the human woman standing before him. He felt a strange respect growing, something that had never existed before in his logical mind. And somewhere, in the silence that followed, the council realized the galaxy had underestimated humans. And especially the women who led them. The council hall dimmed once again. The archives opened to the next memory. A quieter scene this time inside a research lab on a human space station orbiting a dying star. Zyron, the young alien scientist, watched intently. For cycles, he had studied humans. He had seen their wars, their victories, and their disasters. Yet he still did not understand why human females always went first. Now, he would. The archive focused on a human biologist, Dr. Selena Reese. Working with samples of human DNA, she carefully placed strands of genetic material under scanners. The room glowed with soft blue light. Zyron observed every movement, fascinated. "Notice this," Mara Hale's voice echoed in the council hall. "Pay attention not just to their actions, but to their blood, their body, their mind." Zyron leaned forward. The archive showed comparisons, male and female physiology under stress. The results were clear. Female humans endured more physical pain before their bodies shut down. Their resilience was higher in exhaustion, starvation, and injury. Their immune systems responded faster. Their hearts held steady under stress that would collapse many males. "But this is just biology," Zyron muttered. "It explains survival, but not leadership." Mara's voice continued. "It is not just biology. It is instinct, memory, and choice combined. Observe how they think." The memory shifted to psychological simulations. Female humans were faced with impossible choices: save one person or many, act first and risk death, or wait and calculate safety. Every time, females chose risk, but not recklessly. They calculated, then acted decisively. They put others before themselves. Zyron watched as a human female volunteer walked first into a simulated fire to save two others trapped inside. She winced at the heat but kept going. Her companions survived. "Observe their minds," Mara said. "They anticipate danger, yet do not hesitate. They carry responsibility before fear." The aliens in the council hall murmured. It was not strength in numbers or weaponry. It was purpose, empathy, and endurance. Humans could have used machines, armies, or technology to lead, but they did not. Leadership was embodied in the one who could endure most, feel most, and act most decisively. Often, that one was female. The archive shifted again. Zirin watched women throughout human history, leading rebellions, piloting first ships into unknown systems, holding communities together during catastrophes. Always first. Always acting. Always enduring more than anyone else. Zirin whispered, almost to himself. It is. Respect for life. Yes, Mira's voice confirmed. She does not act first for glory, for orders, or for ego. She acts first because she knows what it means to lose everyone if she does not. That is why she goes first. The council fell silent. Alien leaders exchanged confused glances. Their calculations, strategies, and weapons were useless here. Survival, leadership, and respect for life could not be measured with numbers alone. The memory shifted to a human, female standing alone on a battlefield after a mission. She was tired, wounded, and covered in grime. She could have collapsed, given up, or complained. Instead, she checked on her team first, ensuring everyone survived before seeking help for herself. Every action, Mara said. Every choice, every step she leads first because she carries the weight of everyone else. That is human female strength. Zirin felt a strange awe building inside him. He had always studied logic, numbers, and probability. Yet here was a species, and a gender within that species, that defied prediction. It was not cunning. It was not weapons. It was endurance, empathy, and purpose combined into action. The council hall lights brightened slightly. The aliens shifted uncomfortably. For the first time, they could see humans not as weak or reckless, but as unpredictable. Unstoppable forces when guided by their females. Mara Hale's calm voice filled the hall, echoing in every corner. When the galaxy asks why she goes first, remember this, it is not because she is fearless, but because she feels the weight of all who follow, and she will not let them fall. Zirin looked at Mara. Something had changed in him. Curiosity was no longer enough. He now understood a new truth, one that would challenge every assumption his people had about humans. The archives faded slowly, leaving the council in thoughtful silence. The lesson was clear. Leadership, survival, and courage could not be measured by strength alone. It was in the one who walks first into the unknown, the memory open to the vastness of space. Starfields stretched endlessly, and fleets of alien warships glimmered in the void. Humanity's colonies were under threat. An aggressive alien empire, far older and stronger, had launched a full-scale attack. Panic spread among human allies. At the center of the human fleet stood Captain Mara Hale, calm and composed. Her ship, sleek and battle-ready, hovered silently as dozens of alien vessels moved aggressively around them. Unlike previous battles, Mara did not shout orders. She did not rage. She observed. She calculated. The alien council watched closely through the archive. Every alien knew this battle would show if humans were truly as capable as the archives claimed. The attack began. Lasers lit the void. Explosions rocked space. Human ships dodged, fired, and maneuvered with precision. But it was not sheer firepower that stood out, it was strategy. Mara moved her fleet like a careful chess player. She anticipated enemy moves, set traps, and protected weaker ships. Every decision was deliberate. Every command measured. She never exposed herself first, but she never hesitated to send others into danger either, always ensuring someone could survive. The alien commanders whispered among themselves. She does not strike first. She waits. She watches. Why? Zirin, observing intently, leaned closer. Patience, he muttered. But is it enough against them? The archive showed a sudden turn in the battle. One alien fleet tried to flank the humans. Mara's silence held. Then, in one sudden move, she ordered a counterstrike. It was flawless. The enemy fleet was trapped, cut off from reinforcements, and forced to retreat. No human ship was lost, the council gasped. Aliens who had relied on raw power were defeated by strategy, guided by patience and insight. Mara's ship hovered near the front lines. Her presence was commanding without arrogance. Her voice, when it came, was calm but firm. Protect the weak. Outthink the strong. Survive. That is all. The archive shifted to scenes of human soldiers boarding captured alien ships. Each time, the female officers went first. They cleared rooms, disarmed traps, and ensured no human was endangered unnecessarily. The aliens began to understand. It was not just courage, it was responsibility, patience, and foresight combined. Humans led by their females acted as if they carried the lives of everyone, human or ally, on their shoulders. Zirin whispered to himself, "The galaxy feared their weapons. But now I see it fears their leadership." The human fleet won without mass destruction. The alien attackers retreated, not because of superior firepower, but because of the intelligence, foresight, and courage of those who led. And at the forefront of that leadership were human females. Mara Holly looked out into space. She said nothing. She did not need to. The galaxy was watching. Every alien commander understood the lesson. Strength alone could not defeat humans. The ones who walked first, with wisdom and courage, defined their power. In the council hall, Zirin's many eyes reflected awe. He finally understood a truth he could not ignore. Mara's calm voice resonated once more. They thought we were weak. They thought fear would stop us. But humans survive not because they are the strongest, but because she walks first. She feels the weight of life and acts anyway. That is why the galaxy learned to fear her silence. The council remained silent. Respect and unease mingled in the hall. For the first time, many realized that leadership, patience, and courage embodied in a human female were forces that even the most powerful alien fleets could not underestimate. The archive faded, leaving the council in thoughtful quiet. One lesson was clear: the galaxy would never forget the human who walked first into the darkness, and the silence that followed her victory spoke louder than any weapon. The council hall was quiet. Every alien leader waited. Every eye, antenna, and sensor focused on the human representative, Captain Mara Hall. The memory faded, leaving only Mara standing calmly. Zirin, the young alien scientist, leaned forward. He had studied, observed, and questioned. Yet the answer he sought was still not complete. The council elder, an ancient being with 6 glowing eyes, spoke. "Human, we have seen your species survive storms, wars, and impossible dangers. We have watched your females lead first in every test, every battle, every disaster. But tell us, why? Why must the female always go first?" Mara Hale's eyes swept across the hall. Thousands of aliens waited for her words, some doubtful, some curious, some in awe. She breathed slowly, then spoke. "She goes first," she said softly, "because she knows what it means to lose everything. She knows the cost of hesitation, the weight of fear, and the pain of watching others suffer. She walks first not for glory, not for pride, but because if she does not, no one else will survive." The hall was silent. Aliens whispered among themselves. Many had studied humans for cycles, but never had anyone explained leadership, courage, and survival like this. Zirin's voice was quiet, almost a whisper. "So, she carries the weight of everyone else?" "Yes," Mara replied. "She feels the responsibility of life itself. Every step she takes is for others. Every risk she accepts is for those who cannot. That is why she goes first." The council began to understand. For the first time, they saw humans not as weak or reckless. They saw something far stronger, the willingness to endure pain, fear, and danger to protect life itself. And most often, that strength came from females. Mara's gaze softened as she spoke further. "You asked why. The answer is simple. Humans survive because someone always walks into the darkness first. And very often, she is female. She acts because she must, not because she is told. She carries the lives of many on her shoulders. That is our strength. That is our power. The hall remained silent, but the air was different now. Respect, awe, and even fear mixed together. Aliens had underestimated humans for cycles. They had thought power was weapons, numbers, and force. But now they understood. True power was in courage, empathy, and the resolve to act when others cannot. Zirin lowered his head, processing the lesson. He realized that logic alone could not explain humans. They were unpredictable, unstoppable, and profoundly resilient. And leadership, when embodied by a female, was unstoppable. Mara Hill's voice echoed one last time across the council. The galaxy did not fear human weapons. It feared the one who walks first into the dark. And we will continue to walk. Because life demands it, and we choose to protect it. The council lights brightened. Murmurs spread. Alien leaders whispered among themselves, some nodding in newfound respect, some in disbelief. The lesson was clear. Humans, led by their females, were forces of survival, courage, and wisdom that no species could ignore. As Mara Hale stepped down from the podium, the archives closed. Zirin looked at her, a new understanding burning in his eyes. He had seen the answer not in data or words, but in the courage, sacrifice, and silent strength of those who went first. For the first time, the galaxy truly understood the human way: to walk first, face the storm, and protect life at all costs. And as the memory faded completely, one thought lingered in every alien mind: respect the one who walks first. For she carries more than you can imagine. The hall erupted into whispers, some in awe, some in fear. The story was complete. The question had been answered. Humanity had shown why the female must always go first, and why the galaxy could never forget it.